Welcome to Bay Rats and Buoys Season 2 with your host, Captain Gage.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Bay Rats and Buoys. I'm your host, Captain Gage. This is Season 2, episode number 33, brought to you in part by Cito Huntington. Are you a member? Visit Cito.com to join today. And the Fisherman Magazine, my favorite magazine to get in the mail, and my favorite report to watch the whole episode, the whole report on my television in the living room. I absolutely love it. They do a phenomenal job. And Clicks Fueling. Clicks is the fix. Visit clicksfueling.com. And I actually have my Clicks Fueling right here because you guys, if your boat burps up any gas whatsoever, you're going to take this out of the package. You got to order it first. And if you're in the tournament, if you're registered to be in the tournament, the first 25 boats that registered will be receiving one of these, which is why we asked if you were gas or diesel in the listing on the questionnaire there. And we'll get into the tournament a little bit. But here it is. This goes into my fuel tank. Boom. Not into your rod holder. It'll fit in the rod holder. Don't put it in the rod holder. Make sure you put it into the gas tank. And when you're filling up, this will keep the gas from burping up all over your boat. Clicks is the fix. It's a great product. You can get it here at Compass Rose. So, I'm naming sponsors. So I actually am very proud to say go see Mike in Compass Rose because he has Clicks Fueling for both green and red. For green is diesel and red is for gas. So that's one of the ways to get it. I got to put a link at sandcitycharter.com also so you guys can go and shop, so you can stop by because we're getting a ton of visitors to the pages. And, to the point where the tournament video got like over 10,000 views on YouTube. And that tournament's getting around. And it's June now, it's almost June, so we're really starting to push out and promote with all the banners and all the paperwork and the flyers and all the stuff that we have made to get them into the stores. That's happening now. But we'll make it on the website at sandcitycharter.com. There will be a link. I will put it up this weekend so that you guys can get your Clicks fueling device for your boat. So head on over there and check it out. You can also get it at clicksfueling.com. Great product to have on your boat and great for the environment. So, the tournament is, a couple of weeks away now. Now we're like 3 weeks away from the tournament. So, it's getting exciting. It really is. A lot of great stuff happening. The bass have shown up, which is just tremendous. Everybody's waiting for the weather to really turn and become nice, because it hasn't been too nice. It really hasn't. The days that I've been out there fishing, even like Wednesday, I had an ISM networking on the water event on the boat, and it was Dean and Noah. And we got out there, and, it was drizzling on us. And Matt at J&M Seafood, he was out there. And Matt, I'm going to tell you this, because of you, Dean and Noah, it was coming down to the end of the day. They caught like 3 or 4 bass, and they had some big 37 and 39-inch fish. Really nice bass that we got on the troll. And I said to them, hey, the topwater action, from mid-ebb tide down to low, it's lights out here. It's going to be, and it was towards the end of the day for them. We were out at like 11, 12. And, now it's 4 o'clock and Matt's just getting out there. And I'm like, he's coming out here now because now is when it's about to turn on. Now's when it's going to get crazy. And they were like, well, why don't we stay? And I'm like, well, why don't we stay? You don't got to twist my arm, And, man, were these guys rewarded because they really never caught bass on top water before. So it was funny to watch them reeling it in and the bass exploding on it and them missing the fish and me yelling at them to stop reeling it in. And then they threw it out again and they actually got the fish. So I was like, wow, that's awesome because they blind cast it back out to no explosion and still were able to get the fish to come up to the top and, target the, it was a dock. So we were throwing the spook, like I said, we have, and they were also throwing a, Super Strike, which was great because it was great to see them hooking up on multiple, lures, that it wasn't just the spook that was working. And these fish are fat. We were catching fish. I think the biggest on Wednesday was 41 inches. And so we got them on topwater. We got 3 on the troll to start the day, and we found them. They were stacked up. Then we got them on topwater. And when we were over them, we were dropping the flutter spoons down. And it was great to see, like, Dean drop 2 on the flutter spoon. And that's when I explained, hey, listen, it's not as easy as it, you're not going to hook up every time on a flutter spoon. You're not. Even experienced guys like me and Corey, we're going to drop them. You're going to feel it hit. You're just not going to, you got to leave room to lift that rod up and at least get the hook, set the hook, and not everybody's going to hook up as fast. So Dean struck out on 2 flutter spoons, and Noah was one after the other on the flutter spoon. On a gold flutter spoon, he killed it. It was great to see because he's never caught a fish on a flutter spoon before. So I'm glad he had my BG 5000 reel on, because even with that reel, these big bass, I mean, they were pulling drag on him. It was just awesome to see. He had a decent rod. He wasn't on skinny little light rod. He was on a decent rod, and I want to say medium heavy, and the thing was bent in half. It was bent in half on a big bass, 41 inches. And I think he was also using my Travala setup. So he was also on the Shimano Travala. On the Travala setup. So with, again, like a BG 4000 or a 5000 reel. But thank God we were using those. And we didn't break off. We didn't lose any fish, which is always a testament to the tackle and the gear. We're tied up, right? We're prepared. And I even said to them when we leave, hey, listen, we got it. I got top water ready. I got flutter spoons ready. And obviously the trolling rods are up top. We'll get out there if nothing's happening. And the troll bite wasn't crazy. It really wasn't. There were a couple boats hooking up, and we got away from them. We when there's a bunch of boats in the area, I like to go fish a different area and get away from the crowd. That's just me. And we got away from the crowd, and they doubled up. So it was even cooler that, the first rod goes off, and Noah's on the fish. He was just talking to his buddy. He had a nickname previous to this trip, which was No Fish Noah, because he hadn't caught too many fish from the dock with his buddies. And he was talking to his buddy online, and he hung up the phone, and within 5 minutes, the rod bent, and he was on a bass. So 5 minutes, like 10 minutes later, he's sending his buddy a picture of him holding up a 36-inch fat bass, which was just awesome. I'll show you some pictures here, too. And we got the videos of them, doubled up off the back of the boat. It's a ton of fun when you got 2 or 3 guys hooked up on the boat at the same time. And that's because the fishing is lights out right now. It really is. No better time. Like, I'm excited for tomorrow's charter. We are super excited. Me and Corey are super excited to get out. I'm still practicing and learning all my new electronics. Like I've told you in the past, I can get out here and not turn anything on. We know where to go in our area. We know how to fish it. We know where they'll be. We know where they should be. We'll know where they are. It's like, we'll find them. There's tactics to it. There's definitely a tactic to getting on them, but man, so it was fun to see Dean dropping fish on the flutter spoon and Noah hooking up, and both of them doubled up on the troll. They were doubled up on topwater. It was just insane. So when you have action like that, it doesn't matter if you're a newbie or you're a seasoned angler like myself. You live for days like that. You do. And that's what keeps you coming back. And I told him, I said, even when you come out here and you don't catch fish, that's what keeps you coming back, because there's fish here. You want to catch them. Maybe they had lockjaw, which I'm getting messages from, Howie on the regulator. He's got an awesome, beautiful boat here in Huntington Harbor. And, he's shooting me messages even today on my way down to the dock. And I'm like, yeah, I'm coming out there later. I'm going to fish the mid-ebb to the low when it's been really lights out, especially in the evening time. And we got out there the other day. It was flat like glass. You could see a fish fart in the water. So, you see them in the video here blowing up while they're reeling in a fish. This fish behind them blowing up. And these fish that were on top were 44 inches, 45 inches. I'm sure there was some 50 inches on top. I mean, we all missed, where we were, reeling in and pausing it and reeling it and pausing it and twitching it, pausing it, and boom. I hate when the fish have bad aim. Like, I hate when they hit the lure and they miss it. They hit it with their head, they knock it out of the water, and you're like, and you see the fish, you see how big it is, and you're just like, no way. I hate when they have bad aim. I really do. I actually get mad at the fish. More mad than I was at Dean cranking in the lure across the top water, and he big explosion on his lure, and he never paused. He never stopped. But then on the next cast, he got it, so I was kind of proud of that. Good job, Dean. Way to go. And, we had a Tuesday, we had a bottom fishing charter with a 4 and a 6-year-old. This family was in from Kentucky visiting grandma from Huntington. And obviously they looked us up. They found out, we're number one. So they called up and they booked a charter. No, but I'm just kidding. So we got out there and we were leaving as low tide. 8 a.m. is like low tide, if I'm not mistaken. And it was an 8 to 12 charter. So we get out there at 8 o'clock. It's low tide. The bite's not too hot. It's not crazy from 8 to 8:30. And, 8:40, I'm saying, it takes 15 minutes to get into your position, get the rods down. Corey's great. The minute we're leaving, the baits are on the hook because he knows in 10 minutes we're dropping the rods and, in the water. We want these kids to hook up fast. So Dad was the first one on the boat to land a big porgy. He caught a big porgy, and the action wasn't like lights out. It wasn't like nibble, 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 boom, 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 boom. It wasn't insane. So I said, come on, we're going to move. We stuck there around there for 10, 15 minutes. If it doesn't turn on in 10, 15 minutes of drifting around and looking and finding them, we're going to move. And we made a move. And, man, when I tell you we made a move, and in my fishing report, I said it was nothing but fluke. I mean, for the most part, if we caught 50 fish, 45 of them were fluke. There was a black sea bass in the mix, beautiful male with a knucklehead and blue colors, just an absolute gorgeous black sea bass to get. They got a puffer fish. They got big porgies. I'm telling you, they had 4-pound sea robins. I mean, these sea robins were big. They were big. And I got a scale on the boat. I was going to weigh them, and I'm like, it's not the world record. Just throw it back. But we were like, damn, that's a big sea robin. So that's always fun for the kids to reel that up different. I mean, these kids, 4 and 6, they, from Kentucky, didn't know any better. They would have stuck their hand in a fluke's mouth had they not been told not to, which, we don't want that to happen. So we have the lip gripper holding them and telling them not to touch the teeth. And speaking of teeth, not to interrupt the fluke fishing story, because the fluke fishing was great. They were coming up on the boat and spitting out sand eels.
Oh, yeah.
So now they're on the boat, they're spitting out sand eels that are regurgitated, and they stink to begin with. And here they are regurgitated on the boat. I mean, it smelled like a circus came to town. You all know what I mean. And we'll get into smell in a minute with the gulp. I mean, that stuff is it should be banned in the U.S. As sweet as it tastes from what I hear, I haven't tasted it. I mean, the smell of it. I went to Robert Highhook one day to get a jar of the fluid, and he was like, oh, you want to buy cat piss? And I was like, that's pretty spot on as far as the smell is concerned. So we got Captain JW coming into the privateer right now. I love it. And so we were talking about teeth, and the fluke fishing was lights out on Tuesday. It really was. They even have keepers in the mix, which was great to see. And a lot of people catching shorts. And I know people are catching keepers too, but it was nice to get 19 and a half, that these were decent-sized fluke, and that they're really feeding on the sand eels like nobody's business. But we did catch a ton of 18s and 18s and a half, so it's cool. Matt landed a bluefish on Wednesday. Nice 10-pound blue, 8, 9, 10 pounds. 8, 9. I would say it was 8, 9 pound. Yellow-eyed demons have arrived. I saw Dave posted, so Dave hooked up with some blues too. So it's always nice to see. You get those on light tackle. We always say that's the best fighting fish we have. They get to the boat and they take off. Even though I got to say, some of these bass, Kenny, who's always on the boat, he calls them puss bellies. And because the bass give up. Where the blues, they just want to keep, they're like, no way am I getting on the boat. They're out of here. They want to make another run for it, which is why they're so cool to catch. On light tackle, they are. Because who cares if they get off? Bringing them up with a treble hook, nobody wants to do that. That is no fun when they are thrashing around, which is why I was glad. We did see a blow-up. I was able to videotape some of the sand eels on top of the water and got a quick glimpse of them here because I had my phone camera in my hand. I hit record, and I did get them. But then once I got over them, you really can't see them with the glare. But if you look here, I'll show you in the video, they were these little black lines on the top of the water. It was really cool to see. And then we did see blues blow up on them. But I wasn't going to have on Tuesday a 4 and a 6-year-old try to land a bluefish on the boat. There's no reason. Not at that age, Not the risk of having them flopping around on the boat. Those things have jaws. They chomp. Keith, you know what I'm talking about, Keith, on Eric's boat when he picked up that big blue that night. And that in the live picture, when you take your iPhone out and you take a picture and you get the live picture. So when you scroll through it, you get to see the actual, 1 second of the live video of what happened. Well, this thing made the sound of a pit bull chomping its jaws near Eric's face as he was trying to pick up the bluefish. And it was just like chomp, and you heard it. And Keith, that was great. You were the one that got that live shot. if I'm not mistaken. That was the night your brother hooked into a really nice bass, too. That was awesome. Eric just passed me. He just went out. I saw a mojo on the back. He's definitely going bass fishing right now. Chris just left the harbor. He's going out. He was going to do a little fluke fishing. He was going to do a little bit of both. I know he's going to go try to get on the fluke and definitely going to get in on the bass action, too. So the fishing is amazing. It really is. And the weather is not. So, Wednesday, I had my rain gear on. I went from wearing shorts and a sweatshirt all day to putting on my gruntins. You got to be prepared. And if you're prepared, like we're going to have to be prepared on Friday. It looks like Friday, getting a little bit of rain before and after the Manhattan Cup. And, hopefully the forecast changes. It can. It's an early start. I know it's an 8:45 shotgun from the Statue of Liberty. And I'm just quoting the website, so, just going off memory here. It's not like I have any of these details in front of me. And I'll reach out and get all my details. We're going to head over there Friday morning early. And I think the call time for the captains on the dock is like 6:30. And all kinds of meetings and breakfast and whatnot, and get prepared and head out. But again, got to have your foul weather gear with you no matter what, I got the radar. Radar's working. I can see what's going on out there. It's nice. But just knowing the rain's coming and you're going to be in it doesn't mean you're going to stay, dry. I want to center console. So we leave. We're prepared. And me and Corey are always ready for battle. We don't care if it's raining out there. And so I said that to them on Wednesday. I'm like, do you think the fish care that it's raining? It's wet. They're wet already. What do they care? The bite's going to turn on. We're staying and we're fishing, and you guys are going to love it. And they did. They loved every minute of it. You'll see in Noah's clothes, he's wet. He's got water across him from handling. So he went from no fish Noah to high hook Noah with bass thumb. We all got bass thumb this time of the year. There's nothing you could do. My thumbs. I'm letting everybody else handle the fish and drag them on the floor here. You drag them over to the weighing thing. You take them off the hook. We weigh them right there, and then they're putting their mouth and their thumb in the mouth and picking them up the proper way, which is something everybody should do. Guys, pick these fish up the right way, please. We did get 2 keepers on Wednesday's trip. So we had 2 keeper bass, 29 and 30, which was great to put in the cooler for the 2 guys on the boat. They went home with fillets. They made it that night. So there's nothing fresher than the fish you caught that day. Nothing fresher. Not at all. You can't get it any fresher. Unless you head over to Matt and the fellas over at J&M Seafood, another sponsor of the tournament. And here comes that wind kicking up. It's been shifting and changing directions while I'm down here. So I may get a little wind in the mic. I may not. I'm always down here testing. But, man, what's with this weather? Hopefully this whole next week, I see we got some really nice weather. We're booked every day. So we got something happening every day next week, which is really exciting. And it's great because the fish are here. And there's still more bodies of fish coming because the guys west of me, like Manny, are sending me the pictures of their screenshots of what's below the boat. And there are some big bass heading our way. And there's big bass here. There's 50 inches, 50 pounders. They're here. They're swimming. They're in every day someone's going to hook into one. And Wednesday, this was great. I don't use my platform to talk about, to shame other people, to all the bad things people are doing out there. Because, man, Matt gets back to the dock, and he's got a story about a kid out there, from Northport. Everybody knows your boat. They know where you're from. They know what you did wrong. We're all talking. And, they don't, you don't realize how many people are out there. There's 4 boats around you, and all 4 of them could be friends. Just because we're not yelling at each other doesn't mean we're not texting and talking to one another. So you don't know who knows who out there, And this platform is not, I'm not using this to shame people. I'm not. We are going to have an episode come Thanksgiving for the googans that we've all ran into and the silly things that happened out there. But this was awesome. And I praised them when they were out there. I did. And I thought it was the coolest thing. And if anybody's seen the series One Piece, I got kids, so my kids watched it, so I was kind of forced into watching it. I'm not sure I would have watched that if I didn't have kids because of the sci-fi to it. And it just isn't my thing. So, but One Piece, it was great. And Rufy and the pirates it's just a great series. It really is. But I'm telling you, on Wednesday, I saw it from a distance, and I said to Dean and Noah, I said, yo, that sailboat is over there on the East Ledge fishing with those guys. And I was further away from them. Like I said, I get away from the crowd. If I see there's 20 boats in one area, I want to go away from that crowd. I don't like to fish in the crowd. But we saw these kids. We saw them on a sailboat. And they know I videotaped them. They know I was pointing the GoPro at them. They turned around and looked at me, and I was like, yo, you guys are awesome. I love what you guys are doing. I absolutely loved that they were flutter spooning on a sailboat. And it was a cool old sailboat. The mast is down. They're under power. It was just and it's here in the video. You got to see it. And like I said, I'm not shaming anybody. These kids, I thought it was awesome that they were out there. I could be showing you videos of the things people are doing wrong. I had a guy cut me off from Connecticut, stopped right in front of me. And it happened to be when we were trolling, so we were away from all boats. We weren't near anybody. And here comes somebody shooting across, east to west. And he literally just, and I'm honking because I'm seeing him slowing down. And he's just not looking out his window. And I'm not mad at you. I'm honking the horn so you look to your right, you'll see. You just got to go 10 more feet and you're out of my way. Instead, he stops right in front of me. So I make my move. I adjust. And I pull up behind him. He's actually walking out of the wheelhouse. And I'm like, hey, I was honking my horn to let you know. You stopped right in front of me. I don't care. Catch him up. Have fun. See you later. I'm not yelling at you that you're a Googan and you did wrong, And it was a guy from Connecticut. We're seeing a lot of Connecticut guys out in our area. And I'm sure vice versa. I'm sure they see a lot of guys from New York on their side. But we are. We're talking. The guys in the marine, people are talking about it. Guys are like, hey, did you see? There's a lot of boats in our area. We all know the local guys that leave our harbor because we fish with them all the time. So we know each other. There's a clique. There's people that talk to one another out there. Like Eric's out there right now and Chris is out there. If I was out there, we're all talking. What's going on? So it's just nice that people out there. If you have a problem, if something happens. Speaking of problems, it was Thursday. I get a call. I got to go out. I pull up to the boat. And the first thing he says to me is, rats and buoys. And he was like, Bay Rats and Buoys, And it was great to head out there to help one of the first Bay Rats and Buoys fans and listeners. And, I love you guys. It's really awesome. It really is. I drive through the harbor here and people are yelling out to me, hey, I love the podcast. It is cool to see, and it's cool to see you guys out here on the water and, making mention of it and talking about it because it's a great platform. We have a really great fishery here. We have a great area, the Northport, Huntington, Oyster Bay. It's a great fishery. No matter where you go, whether you start here in the harbor and work your way out, go to Northport, go wherever you go. This whole area has places to go fish in for different species. And speaking of different species, the weak fish bite has been great. A lot of guys have been out there catching weak fish. Me and Corey kept saying we're going to go target them. That was half the reason that I was throwing spearing down on the trip we were on, because I was going to try prospect a few different areas and see if we can get these couple, these people on some weak fish. Even again, the weak fish have some nice sharp teeth on them. You have to be careful when you have kids on the boat. So that's my concern as a captain. I don't want kids getting hurt, So, but we wanted to target them, and that's why we had spearing. But I got to say this. Spearing over gulp, the fluke bite was insane, and they were eating the spearing over anything. Did we get one or two maybe on gulp? Maybe. I'd have to go back and check the video and see what rig they were on when they were coming up, because a lot of times we're filming them out of the water, coming up on the boat, being net, the kid's reaction to it, the lip gripper holding them, all that stuff. And I got to tell you, the spearing was the trick for the fluke. It really was. Where a lot of times we'll just leave with the gulp. Now let's talk about gulp for a second. I think I have a container in here that has gulp and some pretty, decent size, the 6-inch ones, the fire tiger. I have all the different colors. So I think I'm going to switch up to a small bucket because Corey's like, yo, I don't think I'm opening that. He's pretty daring. He'll open anything and do anything. He's like, I think the gulp in there is bubbling. I think we need to get rid of it. I'm like 100%. We'll definitely get rid of it. So if any of you guys have had this happen, where your gulp has gone bad, and thought it was in a sealed container, pretty contained, because that stuff is like a bio hazard, in a container. I mean, how many of you guys have had that under the seat in the car or put in the back seat of your car and, spilled some? I mean, your car is going to stink. So I was just making sure. That's all I was doing. That was just a little glance to make sure I hit the record button. We're 25 minutes in. And episode 32. Eddie, this is episode 33. Last week was 32. This is 33. And I'm late today. I did not come down to the boat yesterday. I had so much going on and so much to do. I had a very busy day. For once, it was good to have a real busy day. Then I got to watch my hockey at night. And, it's coming down to Edmonton and the Panthers. Can the Panthers go do it again and beat Draisaitl and McDavid? Let's see. It's going to come down to goaltending. That's always what it comes down to. Whether that goalie stands on his head and spins around and makes the save, it always comes down to goaltending. And both of them have amazing goaltenders and great players, so it really should be a great Stanley Cup series this year. So that's what I did last night, saying, all right, I got to get down to the boat. We got some stuff happening here today. There was a few things going down. It's an awesome day. I'm doing my happy dance on the boat. I was showing somebody my kid's snapper dance that he did when he was 4 years old, catching snappers for the first time. Man, has that come a long way. And now he's the 12-year-old flutter spoon champ. And he'll be on the boat. He'll be holding up some bass soon. He's looking to get on the cover. So, Matt, you put his sister on there, and the brother is competition. He's getting his hair cut today because he's got to take some pictures with some big bass in us. So that's awesome. But I'm getting some calls and some messages. Some guys did some things with the tournament. We got new sponsors, Gold Coast Deli. Dan over at Gold Coast Deli jumped in, and we've been communicating back and forth. I see them every day. In fact, I'm taking my boat down and going to get lunch right after I'm done with this podcast. So, I'm probably going to I'll go grab lunch, and then I'm going to head out and go see what that end of the tide bite is like. Wednesday, we went from half hour, an hour to before high tide to low tide. We fished that entire outgoing, and mid-ebb to low, uncomparable to anything we saw. Thank God it was flat glass, because you see the fish blowing up, all around you. You just make a little move. There was no running and gunning. If you didn't see it close enough to your boat and could get to it, by the time you went over there and threw it, there's a good chance you weren't going to hook into them, unless you sat there and worked it, because they were just there. They're going to come back up, and they're working the surface. We did see our first pot of bunker up on top of the water. I mean, I'm out there how much? I'm out there all the time. And I see them on my sonar. I see them. I know where they are. I know what they look like. I could throw the cast net. I haven't seen any in the harbor yet. But I did see a big pod that I'll show you here in the video. I even drove up to them. They were out of the way of the fishing area, and there were no fish on them. A lot of times I'll drive up to them and sit there on the edge of it and look around and see if there's anything underneath it. And now that I have side scan, I really don't have to get up on top of them like I used to have to see if there was any fish under them, which is kind of cool, really is. So now we got some new technology, pretty cool. And I'm just whispering so nobody hears in the marina. Like they don't know. They all see it up there. They know. So, got a few calls. Got a few guys recently filled out the form. Here's mistakes people make. The guys that I towed back in the other night, they actually, said we're going to be in the tournament. We're excited. Tell us a little bit about it. So it was nice to be able to talk to them about it and hear the questions that people have. About the longest fish. How's it going to work? And, the details are all on the site. And, to give you some more of the details from me personally here on the podcast, it's probably just as easy. I will do a whole podcast on the tournament and go into, full detail and blown out how everything's going to go down and work. And now's a good time to go register. Guys registered, and they filled out the form, and they did not put in credit card information. So they filled out the form, submitted that, and did not submit their credit card information in the form that's right there attached to the form below it. And so I email you and say, hey, listen, we got your registration. I see that you're registered, but you did not fill out the form. And then I can send you an invoice to your email address or text it to your phone via the information that you submitted on the form. So, if you make a mistake, it's not a big deal. But we just want you to know if you just filled out the form and you didn't put in the credit card information and see a receipt and see that you got, charged for it, then, just reach out to us via email or call me or contact me. Or I'm going to contact you because if you filled out the form and you didn't pay, then we're just going to let you know you're not in the tournament yet. So until the registration is paid for per boat, you're not registered. So we'll just point that out. It was very simple. It's very simple. It's a very easy process. You go to stripedbassinvitational.com. Okay, you can go to sandcitycharter.com, click on the word tournament. It's up top, second word. Click on tournament. That'll take you to the tournament page. You scroll down, you're going to see the form. Now, on the phones, you're going to be scrolling down. You're actually going to see all the sponsor logos. If you're looking on a website, it's a little quicker to get down to the form. I was thinking of moving the form up, which is pretty easy for me to do. I can move the form up higher on the page. But then you're seeing the form, and then below that would be all the details. So it's like, look at the details, see if you're interested, and then fill out the form. So it's kind of like in a chronological order of the pecking order that you should read about it, see if you want to enter the tournament, read the details, and then get down to the form, fill it out. It's pretty easy. So that's how easy it is. You fill out the form, you put in your card number, done, you're registered, and we will shoot you a message on the date and the time for the captain's meeting, where we're having it, what time it'll be. And we're all meeting at the lighthouse. We're going to meet. I give you coordinates. There's specific coordinates, so don't tie your boat up. Don't get out there early and tie your boat up to the lighthouse. We are just north of the lighthouse. So I'm just going to ask everybody, because we're saying it's a shotgun start from the Huntington Lighthouse. Let's just be clear. I don't want anybody to tie up to the lighthouse, okay? It's not for you to tie up there. We're not going to tie up there. I'm not tying up there. We're going to get out there. We're going to meet just north of that. And you'll see the location on the Latin longitude. And if anybody wants to learn how to punch into Navionics a specific Latin longitude and how to get there and the different Latin longitudes that may be available to you, because a lot of times they're in two different formats. So I'm going to break that all down in an episode where we get into a little more gear on the boat and how to use some of your electronics. We did mention in one of the past few episodes about the VHF radio and no radio checks on channel 16. VHF 16 is for hailing and distress only, so don't use it to check your radio and say, and you're going to hear the Coast Guard come on. They're going to tell you loud and clear from Stanford, loud and clear from wherever, and they're going to tell you that channel 16 is for hailing and distress only. Use channel 09 for radio checks. So there's the advice. There's the tip. Let's keep that channel free. If we can get a lot of people not doing radio checks on VHF 16 in our area, and when I say our area, I mean Connecticut. I mean Long Island, North Shore, east of us, west of us, everybody, anybody listening. I got guys that signed up for the tournament in Mount Kisco, New Rochelle, City Island, all Queens, Brooklyn, Peconic. They're out in the Hamptons. I got guys coming. And I say, I got guys. Well, the tournament has them coming. But, Bay Rats and Buoys, we created it. So, yes, they're all coming because we created the tournament. But it's just guys from all over the place. Got a lot of guys, Connecticut, everywhere. Guys want to be in a tournament. I get it. We're all competitive, and that's what's so cool about it. So, I know Jim keeps saying he's going to kick your butt. He's saying he's making room on the wall for the plaque already. And it's great to see. And, kudos to the young kids. I was saying it before, the guys on the sailboat. I hope they register that sailboat, and I hope they are at the shotgun start on a sailboat, because when you guys see this, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm nicknaming them One Piece right now. And not giving away any colors or saying who it is, because there is no shame. You'll see it in the video here. I told you I'm going to show you. And there's no shame here. I think what they did is awesome. And you had to hear them yelling, look how big that fish is. They would flutter spooning, and they caught some big bass. And guys, the big fish are here. And guys on sailboats are out fishing you if you're not out there catching these big bass. All right? And remember, the slot limit is 28 to 31. 28 to 31. 31's got to go back. Call the DEC. Call whoever you got to call and ask. It's the same as it was when it was up to 35. 35 had to go back. Anything just below 31 is a keeper. 31 is considered over. And that's what I'm being told when I ask. So I ask the right people. That's the intel that comes out. And it's really a play on words, how it's worded. So you really got to look at it in their description of how it's worded. That's it. Plain and simple. Catch fish 28 to 31. And, when I spoke to them, they said that if you're not hiding fish on your boat and you have a fish that's 31 inches and you kept it and it's dead, and you were honest about it, and you caught a 31-inch bass, they're not going to fine you. That's what they said. If you get a fine, that's on you. Each officer his own discretion. But from the person that I spoke to, they said when they boarded the boat, they said as long as you're honest with us, it's the guys that are hiding fish in coolers and doing stuff. That's who's going to pay the price, and they are out here checking. I see them all the time, guys. I hear they're over at the ramp. I hear they're all over the place, and I see their boat a lot more this year, and kudos to them. I'm glad they're out there checking. I really am, because, I'm all about tagging and releasing everything. Excuse me. We're going to get into the tagging of the other species. So me and Corey said we're going to tag the black sea bass, the fluke. We're going to tag a whole bunch of species, not just the striped bass. And we have plenty of tags for that, thanks to Roxanne over at Gray's Fish Tag Research. And that's where we'll be getting the tags for the tournament. So the couple of people I filled out the form recently, sure, it's the one time I have my cooler. I see it. I didn't take my Diet Coke on the podcast set. And I could have used it. We did, people did fill out forms, and a lot of them I'm seeing saying, yes, we need tags. Yes, we want a tag. Yes, we want to be part of that. So you'll be part of, you enter that and say yes. That means you're going to be part of the tagging division in the tournament. And there's 4 divisions. We'll break that all down. Let's see what time we're at now. So you got the longest fish division, okay? You're going to catch the longest striped bass. Thanks to J&M Seafood, that winner, the grand prize for the longest striped bass with the measuring device that we're going to give you at the captain's meeting for each boat that is registered in our tournament and has paid with a credit card. You are going to have a measuring device on the boat that you have to take a picture with, okay? And there'll be some stipulations and things and provisions that we just describe and explain to you at the captain's meeting so that it's fully understood and only the captains need to know about it. It's going to be very simple. But if there's 2 people that have 2 55-inch bass, the winner of that would be determined by the girth of the fish. And when you're measuring the fish, we're going to show you how to get the girth and how to do all of that. It's very simple. It really is. And it's going to be very simple to record it. Okay? So that's what it comes down to in Division 1. That is the longest fish for the grand prize division in the tournament. Then you have the first fish caught. Okay? So you have first, second, and third place for the first fish caught. That is going to be based on the ruler that we give you for the day, the photograph that you take of the fish, the video that you shoot of the person landing the fish, measuring the fish, and holding the fish up, tagging it, and releasing it if that's what you're going to do. If not, you're going to get it, measure it, let it go. Okay? We don't want to kill any bass in our tournament, guys. This is all about competing for conservation. We have a great fishery here, and let's do the right thing by it. So, then, you also have a video submission division, okay, where the best videos are going to be first, second, and third place. Now, those videos are going to have to be reviewed. So the tournament is on Sunday the 22nd. We'll give you a date and say that by Tuesday we would have all the videos reviewed if we don't have them by Sunday and Monday. So give us until Tuesday that all the videos that were submitted were reviewed, and those prizes will be given out to the top 3 people in that division. Okay, so we got the longest, we got the first fish caught, we have the video submission, first, second, and third place, and then we have the tagging division for the most fish tagged, okay? Now, it's going to come down to if everybody got 5 tags, if everybody got 10 tags, whatever the number is that gets distributed to the people that say, yes, they are tagging, the first person to run out of tags would be the first one to hit the limit on the tags, that they caught 5 fish, okay? So each fish has a video of it being caught, picture of it on the measuring device, tagging it, picture of the tag, So we know what time that fish was caught, okay? Because every phone is recording that information, okay? So this is the reason that we're doing it that way. And you're going to take a picture of the fish. We're going to know what time you caught that fish. And it's going to be very easy for us to determine that you're out of your tags. You were the first person out of tags because you used the same measuring device that the tournament gave you that you couldn't go out and buy, you didn't have previously. So you couldn't have any pictures with a device like this previously. And the fish that you caught that day were all taken, boom, boom, boom. And it's going to be very obvious, guys, because you'll see the stipulations in the captain's meeting because you do have to videotape the person that's landing the fish. Okay, so that's the two parts to it. And that's how we're keeping it. We're keeping the rules. We're just making it that no one's going to be able to cheat, all right? Just like you have to take a lie detector test for the WIC tournament. You're not going to have to take a lie detector test here, but we are going to look at the pictures and see the pictures on the phone to determine that you did win and the times that you submitted are correct. That's all. It's very simple. And we're excited about it. It's going to be super. It's going to be an awesome time. It's going to be a super day. We're going to have a ton of fun, and it's for a great cause. So the response we're getting from people, even when I pulled up to them out there and brought them back, and they said, "Hey, we listened to the podcast. Tell us a little bit about the tournament. We're in," And when I left, I said, "Hey, I hope you guys win. I do. I hope this kids on the sailboat, have a chance. They caught a big fish. So if you guys lose to a sailboat, you're never going to hear the end of it, ever. Especially you over there, Jim. You know what I'm talking about. So I'm excited, guys. I really am. It's going to be a great day. So get your boat over, get it registered over at sandcitycharter.com. Click on tournament, register your boat. You're going to start to see it a lot more on Facebook. You'll see it on the calendar for the Fisherman Magazine. It's in the tournament calendar. Matthew Broderick brought it up in the video. You'll see the image. You can scan the code, take it to the site. And, we even have guys coming around from the South Shore. There's guys on the South Shore. They're not coming around on the boat that they have on the South Shore. A lot of them have boats here on the North Shore, too. And I know Kenny's jumping on a boat. So you got a couple of ringers, I'll tell you that. There's a lot of ringers. You got Teddy and the boys. They're going to be out on the Robalo. And I'm excited. Even spoke to Joey Leggio. I think he might come out on our boat. So we're going to see. And if not, there's boats I can get people on in the area because I do know a lot of people that are in the tournament locally that have room on the boat that are willing to take other people out and people that want to come from the South Shore and just jump on somebody else's boat and be part of the action. And we welcome that. We're excited. So, looks like we're getting some rain, but followed by some really nice weather. So, remember, look at that rain, guys, because there's windows. I told the guy to come down to my boat today from my studio, from the studio office, and I said to him and his brother, I said, guys, come down at 4 o'clock. We're going to go out and catch some monster bass. One of them is 40 years old, never caught a bass. So I said, now's a good time to come out. And then the one guy calls and says, I put my back out playing golf. We'll do it next week. I said, all right, well, next week we'll book charters all week. We'll do it the week after. So now you got to wait another week. And, well, I could do it after charters too. So, he can come out. It just turns into a full day, which is fine. I love doing that. So my point was they were going to come out. And Jay says to me today, he's like, yeah, we got some crappy weather coming, and, it's probably not a good day to go out. And I said, yeah, I got to do the podcast. Let's do it. We'll do it, another time. Not a problem. Guys, you got to be your own weatherman. I know they have weathermans in the report, and people listen, and they do, but you got to be your own weatherman. It says there's a 45% chance of rain. You really got to look at what time it says it's raining. Then you got to look at the radar app. So look at the Windy app. Look at the radar app. Look at Nautide. I love Nautide. All right, from the tidesforfishing.com, their app. I absolutely love going to the weather and certain things and seeing when it says it's going to rain, that it's raining, 45% from midnight to 4 a.m., So it might even change this, rain till like 6 a.m. On Friday that it's saying. Then all day it's clear until like 6, 7 o'clock at night, which is great. So maybe for the Manhattan Cup, there's no rain throughout the whole day from 8:45 a.m. until it closes down. I don't know what time it shuts down and we come back in. So there might not be any rain, but they're forecasting, if you look at it, looks like there's going to be a bad day, and it's not. So you got to be your own weatherman. And using those apps really helps because there's a window right now. When I'm done with this podcast, I'm going to catch some big bass. They're here, and nobody's going out with me. I'm going out by myself. I'm going to go meet my friends. They're out there fishing. I'll pull up next to them, see what's going on, and Just like when I had Dean and Noah on, I had to show them, I put the chartreuse flutter spoon down. Boom, that thing got hit right away. Chartreuse was the color. And Noah hooked up on gold, but man, chartreuse going down was boom. I was on and I said, here, look, here's how you do it. You dropped 2 already, and here, fish on. Brought it up, released it, threw it back, and showed them how it's done. I didn't even take a picture with it. How many more pictures of bass do I need with myself? The next picture is going to be me holding a 50-pounder, a 50-incher, and I'm jumping over the gunnel with it, and I'm going in the water dressed just like I am. I just hope I take my wallet, my phone, and everything's on the boat. And, the watch can go, the glasses, who cares? I'm jumping in with the fish. That's how I'm releasing it. So when you see that video, I caught a big fish. And we're going to sign off on that. So don't forget to check out clicksfueling.com, guys. Head on over there and get the device for your boat this way that you don't spill any gas out, because a lot of boats burp. So that's a great device to have on your boat. They have the green one for diesel, red one for gas. And I'm going to see if we can get a few over at the fuel dock here so that Rich has them to sell to people that do have the burping problem. And because they sit there with the big oil spill rags and put it on your boat. And, it's like, let's try to avoid that. Any spillage we can avoid in the water would be great. So it's a great product to have because it does contribute to a cleaner environment. And obviously, you see, that's where I'm heading with this. That's my forum. My platform is not for shaming. It is going to be for telling guys on sailboats to get out there and fish like those kids were. That was awesome. I'm proud of you guys. Keep it up. Keep catching them on the sailboat. And let me know the name of the sailboat, because right now I got you guys nicknamed as One Piece. I didn't look for a name, which I probably should have. But when I saw you with the binoculars, I knew you guys were in the mix fishing far away from us. And I said, you got to be kidding me, guys. That sailboat's over there fishing. I knew it. So later in the day, they were real close to us. And I was able to yell over to them and let them know. So that was the great thing from Wednesday. That's what we took away great on Wednesday, besides catching so many fish that Noah's arm hurts and he's shot. He didn't want to catch anymore. He's got bass thumb. And kudos to him. Great job, Dean and Noah. And the family from Kentucky that caught endless fluke. So if you guys want to get out on a charter, head on over to sandcitycharter.com. We are very easy to get in touch with. Steve already has 2 dates booked. He called me this morning, and he was like, yo, I want to get another date in between those 2 or after the last one. He's like, just tell me what date, put me on the right tide, and let's go. So I love the clients that come out with us 3 or 4 times a year. So that just attributes to what we're doing and how we're doing it. And people love coming on the boat with me and Corey because we have a ton of fun. So come hang out with us. Head over to sandcitycharter.com. Book a charter. Come on out. We'll get you on whatever you want to fish for, whether it's the weak fish, the flukes, the porgies. You want to go for the albies, whatever you want to go for, bluefish in the back bays on light tackle. You want to go for the striped bass, let us know. We'll be happy. Or the black sea bass. We can't wait to get back out on those, too, because that's good eating fish for a lot of people. They love catching those. Beautiful fish. I think it's one of the most beautiful fish we have in our area, especially when you get the knucklehead with the big blue colors in them. They got a smaller one here on the boat on Tuesday, but very cool. So, episode 33 is in the books. On the Water Season 2, Bay Rats and Buoys. Sign up for the tournament, guys. Happening Sunday, June 22nd. That is just a few weeks away. And I can't wait to see you guys out there. Until then, wishing everybody bent rods, tight lines, and I'll see you out on the water. Captain Gage signing off. Over and out.
Bay Rats and Buoys presents Long Island's hottest new striped bass tournament. Our first annual Striped Bass Invitational. Going down in the Long Island Sound. Sunday, June 22nd, 2025. Shotgun start at 7:30 a.m. just north of the Huntington Lighthouse. 4 categories with first, second, and third place. Grand prize for the longest striped bass division thanks to J&M Seafood. The first 25 boats to register will receive our tournament bucket loaded with sponsors' products. Compete for conservation in our tagging division. Catch and release format. Sponsorship opportunities are available. Sponsor the passion. Fuel the competition. Signing up is easy. Visit stripedbassinvitational.com. That's stripedbassinvitational.com. Or just scan the QR code.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Bay Rats and Buoys. Be sure to visit sandcitycharter.com and follow Captain Gage on all our social media channels.